Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Benchmark Podcast. This is Brother Wolf, and I'm joined with
YNB Collins.
And today we're going to talk about a subject in which has really been something that has been going all around the interwebs. So it's a perfect time in order for us to go ahead and bring it up. And
Just say you want to be trendy.
yeah, something like that. But what it is 100 men versus the gorilla. It's the debate that is taken off all over the interwebs. So, my brother, what was the original tweet?
It's not a tweet anymore.
Oh, the original X.
Don't roll your eyes at me. I'm not the one that did that stupidness. It's by Dream Chasing Mike, and it's CHASN. And he's a verified user, so he's a little check mark. 100 individuals could beat one gorilla. Everybody just got to be dedicated to this shit. Crying, laughing emoji times 2.
And in our process of us going ahead and doing, we did a little bit of research on this subject from off of 2 distinct sources, one of which very intelligible, the other one not quite as intelligible.
You are so nice sometimes.
The first one is Casual Geographic. We did the research. We listened to him. He has a background in zoological study. He knows a thing or two about animals. And if I were to be on a show and they said, hey, do you want to put a lifeline on any question about an animal? I would say, yeah, can I call Casual Geographic? And pray that he answers the phone.
I think that's a fair assessment. I agree with that thus far.
Yes, and the other one was world-renowned comedian.
I don't think he's world-renowned yet. National, I'll give him national.
Yeah,
I don't think he's world-renowned.
National comedian Josh Johnson, who does give us some of the entertainment factor that we'll have on this particular podcast.
No, you don't.
Well, we are the entertainment factor. But
Exactly. Don't give him credit.
Some things from it. So, with that being said, first let's go towards the main event, the gorilla.
Nope. The parameters first.
Oh, the parameters, which are very difficult to align based off of the tweet, which is something that we are going. Well, the X, which is something we are going to go ahead and talk about. First of all, in a particular X, some key things that are left out were the fact that number one, are weapons allowed? That's one of the key aspects that are left out. Also, number 2, the age of the particular
combatants,
the combatants, and the age of the gorilla. My brother. What was it you were saying about
why you got? Why I'm the one that got to say it? Why you can't say it?
Because you said it.
I said if it's one gorilla versus an old folks home, I give it to the gorilla. Mm-hmm. If it's 100 average dudes and one baby gorilla, I give it to the 100 average dudes. I don't think anybody disagrees with that general sentiment.
Correct. But continuing on with those parameters, also another big parameter, weapons. Part of what gives men the advantage in these kind of fights is the fact that we use our brain power in order to go ahead and come up with, exactly, ideas which typically involve having a weapon.
Yeah.
And so if we have any of that, then that makes a big difference.
So we have to worry about age, training, where the venue is that the fight's going to take place. Is it to the death? Because it was never said to the death. What's the gorilla? Like I said when we were discussing this, when I think of a gorilla, the gorilla that comes to mind is a silverback. Right. That's what typically comes to mind.
And I believe that's what the original Xer was thinking of, was the silverback gorilla.
And comparable to that, what's your fitness? What's your training? What's your weapons? Is this one at a time? or is this all at once?
Right.
Like none of this was made abundantly clear. This is what you glean from it, and you can go ahead and state this better. So the reason why Benchmark is concerned with this thought exercise is because the goalposts were never clearly stated. So we don't know what game we're playing. So make sure you state your goalposts so you can go ahead and have a point. Because if the goalposts aren't stated, then technically every argument could be entertained.
Right. It's one of those questions in which multiple choice answer E is always not enough information. So,
good call, brother.
Yeah.
But so now that we've got that done, you're going to go over to talking about the gorilla and what it can do?
Yes. So continuing on with that, a nicely sized gorilla can weigh upwards of 400 pounds. This is a lot of muscle in order going around. It's not Homer weight of 400 pounds.
Homer who?
Homer J. Simpson.
You really use a man's middle initial? The fake man's middle initial?
It's not Homer weight that's going in. It's actually Michael B. Jordan, Mike Tyson kind of weight that we're talking about. That's actually
Michael B. Jordan weight?
Yeah, yes, Michael B. Jordan. Yeah, you know, we've heard the things he can do with martial arts and everything.
No, we haven't. When I think of martial arts, I think of Jet Li and Wesley Snipes.
Yeah. Well, there's some videos I can show you with Michael B. Jordan where they talk about that. But that's either here nor there. We're getting sidetracked. But at the end of the day, as I was saying, that's pure muscle for the most part. Also, another thing is bite force. The bite force can be in. Yes, I looked it up during the break while we were debating this. 1400 psi could be max. 1000 psi could be at the low end. And when you have those kind of numbers, even like a hyena is 1000 psi. So that lets you know the kind of bite force you got.
Did he say what African wild dogs are?
I don't think he said what African wild dogs
are. Because I know they and crocodiles have a stupidly good bite force.
But he always like uses crocodiles as the test. Like that's the litmus test that he normally does for bite force.
Good term.
Yeah, but that's the one thing about that. So yeah, the gorilla has that. Also, another thing is the one thing that a gorilla would have is the fact that he is. We know that a gorilla builds up and does a burst of speed as opposed to long speed. Now, this is both a plus and a minus. It's a gorilla is typically, you can think of more of a sprinter versus a marathon person. So that gorilla is going to put in work for the first few minutes of that fight, and it is going to be carnage, likelihood you have not seen in a long time. If you're one of those 100 men and you're watching it happen on that battlefield,
you're going to hate some of my next points in my next segment.
Yes. So with that being said, that's my main things about the gorilla. My brother is going to take it away for the main points about the men.
So the question that you have to realize is, with the goalposts not being stated, how organized is this attack going to be? Is it just you throw everybody in and hope something happens or not? I believe unequivocally that you could, with some basic training and basic coordination, just harry and harass the gorilla. Because most pack animals are not one punch knockout guys. They're endurance and they're designed to go ahead and tire you out. So what's going to happen is the 100 guys, if you're smart, you go ahead and encircle the gorilla, harass the gorilla. If somebody's hurt, you take them out, put somebody else new in, spit, kick, throw sand, weak points, all this kind of stuff. And then what do you do from there? You're good. You're going to win. It's going to be death by 1,000 cuts. And that's even if we have no weapons, even if you don't have any other training. And is this a layperson that we're dealing with? Are we dealing with trained, or are we dealing with soldiers? Or like, who are we dealing with is not ever made clear. But if we're talking about average dudes, average to America, average to Europe, what's the age range? You know, none of this was made clear, so you can't truly get a good picture on who the average guy is. And I mean, I appreciate that you use Homer Simpson, but I'm thinking the average guy is going to look more like Al Bundy.
This is true. Yeah.
Paunch, means well, tired, will fight if they have to, but they're not trying to fight. Like, you know, dad bod's a thing, right?
Well, here's the funny thing is when you describe the average guy.
Average guy or average American?
The average guy, the description you just said, when you said average guy, you almost want to think of the same way how you would think of the gorilla in a lot of key aspects.
Yeah, agree.
Think of it.
So that's the concern that we have, is that because the parameters were not clearly defined, I can't go ahead and measure some of these things. Because, like, imagine if it's a team of snipers. This isn't even a discussion. Why are we wasting our time? Right. What if it's a team of King Leonidas' Spartans? You know what I mean? I'm winning that. I believe that's over the gorilla too. You know what I mean? So it's a concern of what we're doing. And at this point, I think it's safe to say I'm team 100 guys, just because plurality of numbers. So to give you examples, Donkey Kong versus Mario. The gorilla beat the hell out of that plumber. I have never felt so bad for Mario in my life. That's not a Mario Maker level. But it was only one person. Right. If you've ever played Smash Brothers 3-on-1, that's disgusting, dude.
And mentioning that Donkey Kong hits hard in that
game. But then comparing it to one of our classics that we used to do all the time, Magic the Gathering. For 4 colorless and 3 green, you cast a 6/5 for the ancient silverback. Or you could have 100 1/1 white soldier tokens.
Right.
Who wins?
The 100 white silver.
Plurality is a thing.
Like we said, the main thing is, and it's part of the wild card effect, is dealing with the fact that, you know, it's kind of underestimated. It's overestimated a little bit, the abilities of the gorilla, but it's underestimated a little bit the abilities of just a bunch of 100 people mugging one target.
Yeah,
like it can't be underestimated.
You don't believe me? Look at a riot.
Right. We've had so many examples of those in recent times that it's easy to make that kind of thing, that even one well-trained officer or one well-trained army person or anything like that,
a reserve guardsman or something like that,
reserve guardsman or something like that, is still going to get swarmed by 100 people going there.
I mean, the 2 examples that come to my mind, one fictional, one real, is the zombie apocalypse. Mm-hmm. What happens in the zombie apocalypse? It don't matter. You get swarmed and there's nothing you can do. Yeah. It's like the rising tide. It's going to pull all ships, you know?
I mean, I still remember how hopeless it was. Rick sitting up there, you know, in the tank, surrounded by the zombies, until he heard a voice say, hey, stupid, hey, you, yeah, you know, and everything like that. So that was the main thing.
The second one that I have is this one. As someone who works in the bar industry, you appreciate. Shout out to my homie Q. He knows who he is. It wasn't until he truly understood, because he had some events that helped change his perception. A good bouncer is there, and his presence is felt, but he doesn't guide the party. He just makes sure you know what the bounds of the party are. Because if 6 dudes wanted to jump a bouncer, the 6 dudes are going to win. Right. The problem is the average bouncer is well over 250 pounds. It might not even be muscle, but you know he has the size to affect at least one change.
Right.
At least one. And just like that gorilla, that casualty is going to be felt. But what is the win condition for this? I'm assuming it's a fight to the death. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming that in my scenario, one man survives. He might be missing an eye. He might have a limp for the rest of his life. He might have PTSD. But if he survives and the gorilla's dead, 100 men win. Casual Geographic said it best. It's plurality. You don't understand it. And if you've ever been jumped before, or I'm not going to tell anybody, we guess, but if you've ever been a jumper or the jumpee, 3 punches at the same time, there's nothing you can do about it. You're just trying to curl in the ball and try and hopefully get as much deflection as possible. And 100 dudes, enough that people can tag out, get rest, and come back to whip your ass?
Yeah.
That's a no. You know what I mean?
Like, that's the thing is, you know, the one thing that is time. That's the one thing that is almost guaranteed in this question is the fact that the men are going to have time on their hands.
And like I said, as an endurance hunter, we don't have to kill you today.
Right.
We're just going to go ahead and harry you, harass you. That's by 1,000 cuts. But just because I'm your favorite brother and because I'm disgusting, I picked 5 squad leaders to go ahead and help with this leading the charge. First is Toby and Gwegwe. Try Jesus, not me.
I think it's funny you picked a bard as your first.
Hey, man, you got to keep people's spirits up. After you see somebody, have you ever seen a dude get hit with another dude?
Yeah, it makes all the difference. Like somebody gonna need somebody at that point is gonna need some kind of much better than Steve Harvey motivation.
First off, Steve Harvey motivates you.
Much better than Steve Harvey.
All right, I was worried because I'm about to say his suits maybe. After that, he's been kind of falling off some. Second one, you'll appreciate this. Brock Lesnar. I want to see a gorilla and a human being suplex each other. I don't know why. That's all.
I can imagine the gorilla just sitting up there and being like, "Why is my feet off ground? Why is?"
But I will say this though, it's not on my bucket list, but I'll watch that. Third one, and this is where you always get mad at me. This is the backup plan. This is the if things are going bad, we pull this out. Diddy with baby oil.
I feel so sorry for the gorilla at that point.
No. Glorilla. He gonna be. What was the term during the trial? You had to be glistening. You heard what he said in Boondocks? No, you missed some spots, but I didn't. Full time. The fourth is the diplomatic trial. Jane Goodall.
Yeah. And like I said, Josh Johnson did mention the Jane Goodall thing, except he went left when he should have went right.
Yeah, he tried to have a gorilla whisperer. Oh.
I mean, as I said, as I would say with that, we all saw what happened with the Hulk as far as Avengers were concerned and everything like that. And Nat sitting up there and just getting on the Hulk's good side and all that other stuff. So, yeah.
Good side? All right, PG, I appreciate you on that one. But the last one is, sir, I'm butchering your name. I apologize, but Hofborg Julius Bjornsson, the mountain from Game of Thrones. I didn't know they came in that unnecessarily big.
Like I said, that must lead your heavy squad.
Like, I never thought that there was a compliment to Shaq.
I mean, the only thing I can think of is like, remember when gears go into a battle and you like, I feel sorry for the Locust.
But yeah, that's just, so that's ways to think about it. But I believe because of plurality of numbers in basic tactics that I think every human being can understand without any significant levels of training. I believe that even if the venue were quote unquote enclosed, which would even be worse for the gorilla, I believe that humans win this one. And I don't believe that it's close. Like I said, I believe in most permutations, combinations, that humans win. What say you? What's your if you have to go ahead and drop your ballot, who gets your vote?
Well, as I was saying before, I had the opposite view of you before I listened to Casual Geographic's take on the situation. Once I did, then I realized, well, he made a valid point about the plurality of the situation. And so, with that being said, I would agree that if there are able-bodied men that can keep their cool and not, freak out when they see obviously one or two of their compatriots ripped to shreds in front of them. I think that they will stand a chance to win the day at that point,
You think Rev Ross agrees with us?
I don't know. That's a good question. Rev Ross might side with the gorilla. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, that's part of the reason why we hate Little Brother, so it's okay.
So with that being said, brother, I think there wasn't very much healing in this episode, but I do believe it is closing time.
I agree with that, sir. So with that said, this is YNB Collins, and I'm joined with
Brother Wolf.
We're the Benchmark Podcast, and hopefully we gave you a little bit of future food for thought on how to attack a thought problem and to make sure your parameters are set, because otherwise you have to entertain every option. And that's not what we're doing here. We're trying to make effective and worthwhile choices.
Yeah, I think it's not just how to solve a thought problem, but also how to properly create one that you have to set parameters when you're creating it.
I agree with that.
All right.
Later, y'all. Season of healing about to end.
Thank you for listening to the Benchmark Podcast, a product of Benchmark Media, LLC. We would like to remind our listeners that the views and opinions expressed are strictly the views and opinions of each individual and does not reflect the stance of Benchmark Media. Any opinion stated is not to be construed as professional advice or help. Our intro and outro music is Acid Trumpet by Kevin MacLeod, licensed under Creative Commons. Contact us at therealbenchmarkpodcast@gmail.com.
Thank you, Kevin.
Or our website, www.therealbenchmarkpodcast.com.
Yes.
Donate to us, paypal.me/benchmarkmediallc,
Please.
or the Cash App, $TheRealBenchmark. Thank you very much.
Okay, you can buy him a drink on this one.
Just this one?